Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining HEA's Hydrogen Bytes, our lunchtime webinar series where we showcase the breadth and depth of activity that our members are doing. Here we are joined today with SIAS. SIAS is a leading award organisation for STEM industries, so working across a range of technologies to support the net zero transition. And today they will be talking. We are joined by Deborah Haggett, who is the head of product and assessment at SIAS, as well as Ellie Goodwin, product development manager. And they will be focusing their session today on the hydrogen qualifications that they've already developed so far, and how they connect to the hydrogen skills framework. So really looking forward to this session today, and lots of appetite from our network, which is great to see. But for those, many of those that have joined are our members, but there are also maybe some non-members here as well. So just a reminder of who the HEA are. We're the leading hydrogen trade association in the UK, and we represent our members that are displayed on the slide here, right across the whole value chain, from production, transportation and storage, range of use applications, as well as a range of professional services, including those key players in the skills space, and also the university and research organisations that are working in hydrogen as well. If I could just ask for anyone who isn't already on mute, just to put themselves on mute, so there's no background noise for Deborah and Ellie. But without further ado, I'll pass over to Deborah and Ellie and let them share their slides. We've got a great presentation prepared for you today. And if you wouldn't mind, any questions just as they're going through their presentation, you can pop in the chat, and then we'll come to those questions at the end, and we will be sharing a copy of the slides and the recording to the session following this webinar today as well. So thank you. Over to you, Deborah and Ellie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can't find it. I can't find it.
For those that aren't on mute, it would be great if you could just pop yourselves on mute, and I'll go down and mute anyone that hasn't heard that message as well.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session where we will be going through who we are as an awarding organisation, our approach to developing qualifications in the clean technology space, and we'll also provide an overview of some of the qualifications that we've developed to date and our future plans as well. So my name is Deborah Hoggett, and I'm the head of product and assessment here at SIAS, and I'm really pleased to be joined by my colleague Ellie Goodwin as well. Okay, so if we can just go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So I'll just start by giving a quick introduction to SIAS. So we are an off-qual regulated awarding organisation, originally set up in 2015 as an endpoint assessment organisation created by industry for industry, and we're also part of the wider Cogent Skills group. So as a forward-thinking awarding organisation, we're not just preparing learners for the future, but for us, what's important is that we really work with industry to shape it. So our purpose is to power the next generation of STEM talent, to lead the way in future technologies, sustainable solutions, and the industrial transition as well. And we do this through a truly collaborative approach, and we stand behind a commitment in developing qualifications and wider awarding solutions that really align to the future skills needs required for the rapidly transitioning global STEM industries. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just in terms of our qualification, so we are committed in developing rigorous and agile solutions that align to future skills needs across the specialist areas that we serve. So these include science, manufacturing, engineering, future technologies, what we're here to talk about today, healthcare, industries, health and safety, and green skills. And I think what sets us really apart is how closely that we do work with industry. So we work with employers and with sector experts to understand what good looks like in practice, and then we use that insight to shape qualifications that are practical, relevant, and recognised. And our aim really is to develop qualifications that reflect what industry needs now, whilst also helping people become job ready and able to work safely and effectively. So next slide, please. So for us at SIAS, what we're hearing from industry is that organisations need people who can step into real roles quickly, safely, and with that right knowledge and skill set as well. And we know that government and industries are setting ambitious targets around emissions, efficiency, clean technology. But meeting those targets really depends on having a workforce with the right knowledge and understanding alongside the skills needed to develop the work safely and consistently. And that's where qualifications are that bridge. So qualifications really help translate that ambition into capability. So by giving people that strong foundation of knowledge and then employers the confidence in what learners understand, supporting that progression then into new and emerging roles. So next slide, please. So our starting point when we develop qualifications is always at the workplace. So we engage directly with industry to understand the tasks, the safety expectations, and then the knowledge and skills required. And then together, what we do is translate that into a clear standard. So what knowledge and competent performance really looks like, and then build sort of assessments around it. This co-creation then makes that qualification really relevant from day one, which then fits into workforce demand. And technology and practice is moving so quickly. So what we try and do is we make sure that we're keeping up to date by staying close with our employers and with stakeholders to really make sure that content remains current, but then also keeping our development sort of lean and structured as well, and agreeing that standard early, prototyping quickly, and then releasing qualifications once we are assured that they work in practice. Next slide, please. So our innovation is really in design. So we focus on future-focused knowledge and skills that employers need and want. So safety, quality and compliance are embedded, so the right behaviours show up in day-to-day work. And we used an outcomes-led evidence-based design. So we agree what good performance looks like and the evidence that proves it, and then build around that. And I think qualifications should really open doors. So what we try and do is we build stackable pathways so that people are starting with shorter awards, shorter courses, but then able to progress to broader recognition over time. And because they're employer defined and portable, organisations see immediate fit to role and over time mobile and resilient workforce across the sector. And I suppose all this is then wrapped up within our sort of structured and robust qualification development process. So we follow a design that makes sure that qualifications are relevant, technically sound, but then also aligned with current industry needs. And then at the heart of our approach is that meaningful collaboration. So making sure that we are working with a range of stakeholders, and this might include employers, training providers, industry bodies and regulators, to really make sure that we are shaping qualifications from the ground up, to ensure that they reflect the evolving sector expectations. So from market analysis to really understand current and emerging needs, right through to life cycle management. So working with the sector beyond launch to make sure that we're keeping qualifications relevant and responsive over time, supporting long-term workforce development as well. So what I'll do now is I'll hand over to Ellie, who will go into a bit more detail around our development process and the qualifications that we've developed to date. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. So ultimately, our aim is to develop a qualification ecosystem that's aligned to employer and sector needs, but it's also aligned and it's also against nationally recognised frameworks. So this starts from that awareness level and progresses through to those more advanced roles. So we've taken this approach with the hydrogen sector. So we started with the Level 2 award introducing learners to hydrogen safety, which is based around the recently launched hydrogen skills framework, and have since developed 3 further qualifications introducing learners to the different economies. And these were developed in close collaboration with the sector and also aligned to the recently developed national occupational standards. So this is just a visual overview of the full qualification life cycle and the key activities that sit within each stage. So we start all of our qualification development with the business case, and here we explored the rationale behind developing the qualifications. We collaborated with stakeholders and ensured that the developments were informed through industry demand and aligned to the skill strategies. So after the business case, we shifted into qualification design and development. So in this phase, we worked with the working group to build the qualifications content assessment approach and ensured alignment with the skills framework and national occupational standards. As part of that process, we consult with stakeholders to ensure that the qualifications are both technically accurate and fit for purpose, gaining letters of support for the regulation process. Once the qualifications go live, we focus on supporting centres and learners with delivery. So this includes providing ongoing support and guidance, conducting moderation or standardisation activities, and managing award and certification processes. Essentially, this is where the qualifications come to life and we ensure delivery remains consistent and high quality. We then will review the qualifications on a regular basis. So at this stage, we gather and analyse stakeholder feedback and then implement any necessary quality improvements. And this phase just ensures that our qualifications will continue to meet industry needs and deliver that value to learners. So as mentioned, the first qualification we developed was to introduce learners to hydrogen safety. This was based on feedback from the sector outlining the need to develop people's foundational understanding of the hydrogen industry, their knowledge of process design principles and safety considerations essential for hydrogen production, storage and utilisation. Each learning outcome is mapped to a knowledge statement from the hydrogen skills framework. The qualifications are short introduction with 8 guided learning hours. Guided learning hours just refer to the amount of time the learner is expected to spend being taught or supported directly by the tutor, trainer or instructor. And the total qualification time is the overall time expected to take a typical learner to complete the qualification, and that includes both the guided learning and any independent study or preparation they might need to do. This qualification is assessed through one multiple choice question examination. So we then progressed into developing those 3 additional level 2 qualifications, and these are aimed at those working within or transitioning to a specific hydrogen sector based on the national occupational standards. So these are ideal as an introduction and could be used as a bolt-on to other qualifications or apprenticeship frameworks. These qualifications are an introduction to hydrogen production, the storage and the transportation and distribution. So this slide just breaks down the key information for the hydrogen production qualification. So this qualification aims to equip learners with a foundational knowledge and understanding of hydrogen production processes, safety procedures and quality assurance principles. It's got guided learning hours of 18 and then a total qualification time of 24, and it's assessed through one multiple choice question examination. The Level 2 award in the Introduction to Hydrogen Storage is designed to provide learners with the essential knowledge and understanding required to support the safe, legal and effective hydrogen storage operations across industrial settings. It has a guided learning hours of 20 and a total qualification time of 25, and it's also assessed through multiple choice question examination. And the Level 2 award in hydrogen transportation distribution aims to provide learners with the knowledge and understanding required to support the safe, legal and effective transportation and handling of hydrogen. This qualification has got a total learning time, total qualification time of 24 and then 18 guided learning hours, and it's also assessed through an MCQ. So what we'll be doing over the next 12 months is continuing to work with the industry, employers and key stakeholders to look at developing further qualifications, whether these be knowledge or skills focused. They'll be based on different hydrogen economies and the different job roles within those economies. This is just a bit of an outline on how the qualifications framework could be progressed and built on based on the industry needs and those job roles, and then how they could also align to the hydrogen skills framework. Just more recently, SIAS have also launched 2 new qualifications in carbon capture, and these are based on the new carbon capture skills framework. So the Level 2 qualification is just a broad introduction to the carbon capture sector aimed at technical and non-technical staff members, and that's just to build a general awareness and understanding of those key concepts within the industry. And the Level 3 qualification takes a more focused approach by concentrating specifically on safety within carbon capture. And this is intended for staff working in more technical roles where a deeper understanding of safety practices and considerations is required. So just wanted to share the main objective of the Level 2 Carbon Capture Award, and it's been mapped to the framework and provides learners with an introductory understanding of carbon capture and storage industry. It includes its role in achieving UK's net zero targets, CCS value chain and relevant legislative frameworks. And this qualification is aimed at learners new to the industry and want to gain a basic understanding of the sector. It's a short qualification, 8 guided learning hours and total qualification time of 10. It consists of 1 unit and is also assessed through a multiple choice question exam. So the Level 3 award in carbon capture and storage safety has also been mapped to the carbon capture skills framework and then provides learners with the knowledge and understanding required to operate, monitor and manage CCS processes safely. It covers a wide range of areas, including hazards, risks, control measures, along with CO2 properties and process hazards. Learners are also introduced to the legal and regulatory frameworks that fit and govern the CCS operations, helping them to understand what's required for safe and compliant operation. It was determined with the working group that the learners should have a basic foundation in health and safety before taking this qualification, as the content builds on that prior knowledge. So this qualification has 16 guided learning hours and a total qualification time of 20, and it also consists of 1 unit and is assessed through the multiple choice question examination. So we have developed online learning resources for the following qualifications. So we've got resources for the hydrogen safety, hydrogen storage, introduction to carbon capture, and then the Level 3 carbon capture and storage safety. So these resources are fully aligned to the qualifications. They're interactive and delivered as a SCORM file. So SCORM file sort of looks like a zip file, but it's not something you can open and browse on your computer. All the coded elements that make the e-learning work are packaged sort of inside it. And the file allows the content to be uploaded to a compatible learner management system. And once it's uploaded, the LMS can track things like completion scores, time spent, so that centres can easily monitor learner progress. Learning content will be offered to all centres who are approved to deliver the qualifications, and there's no additional fee for those resources. Here is just a bit of an example on how the learning content looks like. So this is the level 2 award in the Introduction to Carbon Capture and Storage, but the same style has been used across all qualifications so that learners will get a consistent experience. Each module is structured with clear headings, supportive text and visuals to help guide the learners through the topic. It's got a clear side menu and a clean layout so that guides the learner through each section of the unit. And this allows learners to see exactly where they are and move through the content at their own pace. Throughout the course, we've also included interactive tasks such as the drag and drop exercise pictured on your right. It's interactive, it's easy to navigate and built to support different learning styles. So just that's sort of a bit of a whistle-stop tour on our recent qualifications. Deb, I'm just handing back over to you. So thank you.
Thanks, Ellie. So yeah, we've just pulled this slide together just around sort of challenges and opportunities, because there are of course challenges for the sector. Just for example, you know, when delivering new qualification and courses, access to things like equipment, staff availability, competence, and rapid change as well. What we feel like what we can do as an awarding organisation working collaboratively is tackle those challenges with co-designed qualification frameworks. Again, making sure that we are working closely with industry to keep content current, but what we do want to do as well is explore more innovative approaches to delivering qualifications and courses. So for example, through simulation, through VLE, and including the online sort of resources that Ellie talked through earlier, just to develop that package as well. I think the opportunity, however, is stronger talent pipeline, alignment with policy and funding to enable portability and progression. And then I suppose the upside is that talent mobility and then stronger retentions, because people do see a route into sort of a progression as well. Next slide, please, Ellie. So I think our vision really as an awarding organisation is simple but practical as well. So what we want to do is make sure we are developing qualifications that are trusted, that are portable, and that are kept up to date with employers. So we will continue to lead by staying close to industry, and I suppose most of all what we want is that we want learners to move into real responsibility, so people who can then lead the safe, effective and sustainable work across the clean energy economies. So I think that's everything in terms of our slide. So yeah, happy to open it up to sort of any questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. It was a really informative presentation, both into kind of the broader vision that you have as an award organisation, but also kind of the details around the great work that you've done in developing those hydrogen and carbon capture and storage qualifications. So thank you very much. And I really, I think this is a really great opportunity for that kind of beginning those conversations and building relationships in terms of co-designing those qualifications for industry. And I know you work closely in the Hydrogen Skills Alliance, and the HEA does our best to facilitate that kind of co-collaboration with industry and the skills sector. So that's kind of loud and clear. So thank you very much for stressing how important that is. We do have one question in the chat already. I do encourage others to share any reflections or questions in the chat function. But I'll start with the one that's come through from Loughborough University. I think it was helpful to see the broader vision of what's building out kind of the qualifications based on the hydrogen skills framework. But this question just asks on specifically if there's a course for hydrogen use that's kind of in the pipeline, suggestions around legacy, new forms of sustainable hydrogen and opportunities. So I guess maybe any detail that you can share on how the kind of next qualifications are being prioritized and what is in the pipeline.
Yeah, so what we are doing at the moment is working closely with the industry, so working with the sector, and we are welcoming conversations across the board to look at where we are needing to target our development. So whether that be looking at the framework and looking at those roles and economies and developing qualifications, either knowledge-based or skills-based. I think what will determine that as we go on is that sort of collaboration and communication with the sector. So yeah, if anybody does want to have a follow-on conversation with us to look at sort of next steps in terms of where we are prioritizing developments, then yes, please do reach out.
Great, that's really helpful. And I think another question has come off the back of that around from Richard Penn, saying that thank you for your work in the hydrogen space you've done already, but wanting to understand if there is appetite or plans for something similar with ammonia, in particular for the maritime sector, for example.
Okay, so at the moment we have been focusing on hydrogen, and we've just started developing some qualifications in carbon capture, as Ellie mentioned, based on the new carbon capture skills framework. Again, because we do operate within these sectors, we're very much led by what the industry is telling us that they are needing in terms of qualification framework development. So it's something that we can look at in the future. We've not got any initial plans at the moment, but again, happy to pick up any separate conversations as well.
That would be great. And I know there's lots of other members within the HEA membership that are also working in the low carbon ammonia space. So I think there could be an opportunity there. So I'm happy to support in that respect as well. Just a couple of questions, one from Michael Shippard, whether you could just explain how these courses are funded and paid for, and some more practical questions.
Okay, so at the moment, in terms of funding, the qualifications haven't been allocated central funding as such. We are sort of exploring that because it is within that sort of clean energy space, one of the industrial priority areas set by the government. We are in conversations with different mayoral and strategic authorities as well in terms of looking at that funding mechanism. But at the moment, that the qualifications aren't centrally funded, but it is something that we are exploring.
Great, that's helpful to understand. Thank you. And just a final question here from Mandy Hannah from High Rock, whether you could just provide some more details if an employer has an apprentice currently, for example, how such courses and programs are accessible for those apprentices to take alongside current apprenticeship programs.
Yeah. So what we're seeing a lot of at the moment, actually, in particular with the hydrogen qualifications, is that providers, including colleges and private training providers as well, is sort of utilising them as bolt-ons, as Ellie mentioned. So an apprentice that is working in process industry manufacturing, they have the opportunity potentially to do one of the hydrogen qualifications as part and parcel of their apprenticeship. So it's something that we have seen our individual providers take on as a model in terms of that bolt on to the main programme.
Great, that's helpful. And just an additional element in that question in terms, I know you touched on the online resources, but if there's details of those courses or the locations and distance, I don't know whether you could just clarify that point.
Sorry, what was that again, Olivia?
Are all the qualifications delivered online, or is there any kind of in-person component and the locations of those?
Yeah. So how we've designed the delivery strategy is for it to be as flexible as possible. So we've developed the online resources so colleges can access them, but they may want to deliver the qualifications in person, and I suppose that depends on as well what the employer is wanting. So you know, some employers we're hearing are wanting these qualifications delivered sort of one-on-one to them. Others are quite happy with that flexible model in terms of online delivery. So we've just tried to develop something that is as flexible as possible for providers delivering.
That's really helpful, thank you. And just for those that have to go, we'll just stay one more minute just for one final question, if that's okay. But I thank you all for joining, for those that have to drop off immediately. Just a question from Derek Young around the straightforward ways for current employees working in related energy sectors, so the North Sea oil and gas sector, for example, to transition into hydrogen. So recognizing the experience that may have been gained in another setting, how do the qualifications kind of factor in kind of already existing energy skills base?
Yeah, so when we were developing the qualifications with stakeholders and with employers, it was really important that, you know, we were considering that people already have these skills that are transferable. So the aim really of these qualifications is to contextualize, I suppose. So if you look at the hydrogen skills framework, that's how it's been designed. You've got the additional knowledge and competency statements in there to be able to sort of contextualize from a health and safety perspective or from an emergency response perspective, etc. So you know, that there is that transferable element within the qualification. It does take that into account.
That's really helpful to understand, and I've just shared a link to the Hydrogen Skills Framework, which is hosted on the Hydrogen Skills Alliance page on Cogent Skills' website. I understand, so there are other resources there as well, like the Hydrogen Skills Strategy, which gives you that kind of broader picture and mapping of kind of where the skills shortages are in the hydrogen sector. But thank you very much, Deb and Ellie, for joining us today. It's been a really informative presentation and lots of engagement from the attendees as well, which is always great to see. So I thank you very much, and I will be sharing a copy of the slides and the recording following this webinar. So thank you for all joining today, and please do reach out to SIAS if you want to discuss kind of both in terms of influencing the kind of what qualifications should be developed next, or kind of just some more one-to-one practical conversations as well. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Goodbye.